Hello everyone, I am Yajas Sardana. I am a mentor at AccioJobs and an incoming software engineering intern at Microsoft. And today I'll be sharing with you the 7 key habits of an efficient developer. So the first and arguably one of the most important habits of being an efficient developer is coding consistently. Now all of us know that consistency is the key to mastering any skill. Now personally, there are 3 major techniques that I love to follow in order to be consistent. Number 1 is making to-do lists. Every day before going to sleep, just simply list down the things that are supposed to be done tomorrow and also give them some sort of a priority. Now this will help you develop a clarity of thought because you will already know what you are supposed to do the next day. And because you have something to look up to the next day, it will also prevent you from procrastinating from waking up. And ultimately, people who wake up early end up being very consistent. Second is maintaining some sort of a diary or a document to list down your short-term and long-term goals. Now I'll give you an example to explain this concept. Let's say I keep a short-term goal that within the next 1 week, I'll learn the basics of React. And for a long-term goal, within the next 3 months, I'll make a complete full-stack MERN project. Now with a clear aim in mind, you will remain motivated every day and ultimately will be able to be consistent. Now thirdly, there's a campaign or a phenomenon called 100 Days of Code, where you basically write or learn something related to programming consistently for 100 days. Every day you post your progress on social media platforms like LinkedIn or Twitter, and this comes under a concept called public learning, where basically you get a lot of feedback from the community and also you feel some sort of an accountability to the community that you need to post every day, and it ends up helping you maintain consistency. And it also helps you build a brand, it helps you become someone with a good network, and ultimately there are a lot of friends of mine who after doing this challenge got a lot of internship and placement offers from HRs, where they just look at their consistent profiles and reach out to them with interview opportunities. So yeah, this is something which you can definitely try. Now the second habit of an efficient developer is knowing how to take breaks. Now I know it's ironic that I'm talking about taking breaks just seconds after I explained the importance of consistency. But in reality, breaks really are very important in order to help you remain efficient and productive. Now I'll be sharing 2 major strategies to be followed. The first is the 20-20-20 rule. In this rule, you basically set a timer and every 20 minutes, you look at something 20 feet away from you and focus on it on 20 seconds. What this does is that firstly, it helps you reduce eye strain, and secondly, it helps you focus your mind. Ultimately, in the longer run, following the 20-20 rule has been known to increase your productivity and ultimately increase your efficiency. Now, second is following some sort of a studying or coding pattern. I'll give you an example to explain this. Now, people with shorter attention spans tend to follow the 45-minute rule, where basically they study or do something productive for 45 minutes, then take a 15-minute break where they drink water, exercise, take a walk, anything that refreshes you, and then go back to studying or go back to working. Now for people who have greater attention spans, they tend to follow the 4-hour rule, where basically they divide their day into 2 different 4-hour slots where they'll study without any distractions or program without any distractions, and these 2 slots are at least 2 hours apart so that the mind is not fatigued. Now these 45-minute rule or the 4-hour rule, these are not hard and fast values set in stone. What I'll recommend you to do is that experiment around with these patterns and find out what works for you, but ultimately remember, it's very important to take breaks. Now the third trait or skill which I'll talk about is learning the art of Googling. Now when I talk about Googling, what I basically mean is that knowing how to efficiently look for solutions online and gain knowledge online. Now as developers, we need to solve a lot of problems every day and we need to solve them very fast, right? And therefore, knowing how to look for solutions becomes very important in order to function as an efficient developer. Now there are 2 major aspects to this as per me. Number 1 is to realize that we need not solve every problem from bottom up. There might be a lot of other developers in this world who used to face the same problem that we are facing, and they might have uploaded their solutions online. So therefore, along with understanding the problem, it becomes very important for us for knowing how to look for these already posted solutions and saving our time. This can be done by referring to websites like Stack Overflow and reading blogs on websites like Medium and dev.to. Now the second aspect to this is knowing how to use the tips and tricks provided by Google to refine your search. Things like using double quotes for exact matches and using asterisks in order to search for wildcards can really help you bring your search times down and ultimately excel in improving your productivity. Now the fourth and another very important habit that I'll talk about is to stop watching, start building and start working. Now a lot of budding developers get caught into this concept called the tutorial hell, where they watch one video after the another, one code along after the another, and ultimately they become so dependent on videos that it hinders their critical thinking. Now how do we escape such a tutorial hell? There are two major aspects to this as per me. Number one is to start building. One of the best ways to learn something is to make projects. Whatever you have learned, try to put it to good use. Try to put it to a real life project. For example, let's say you learn the basics of front-end development. Maybe try to make a web portfolio website using the same. And another example can be, let's say you learn how to make a server in Express. Maybe make a fun API out of it and deploy it. Now what this will do is that because you will be putting your skills to use in a real life project, it will help you expand your scope of creativity and ultimately help you expand your skills. Now the second aspect is taking paid gigs. This comes under the umbrella of start working. What I mean by that is that look for freelance projects online or maybe even look for internships. And what this will do is that because in such gigs you will be working on real life projects which will be used by real life users, it will help you grow exponentially. You will learn how to work in teams. You will learn how to use version control, use agile methodologies, develop your interpersonal skills, and ultimately these paid gigs can help you become a great fit to work at any organization in the future. Now the next thing is very close to my heart. It's called giving back to the community. Now as developer communities around the world continue to expand every day, it has become more and more important to be involved with these communities and contribute in whatever capacity in order to grow as a developer. Now what I mean by contributing is that let's say you know a technology very well. Maybe take a live session about it or write a detailed blog regarding the same. And I firmly believe that teaching a concept to someone and engaging in conversations about the same is the best way to strengthen your fundamentals. Another thing which you can get out of communities is interacting with people, collaborating upon open source projects, or maybe even making hackathon teams and participating in hackathons around the world. And considering the COVID situation right now, the possibilities for virtual hackathons have expanded so exponentially in the past 2 years that being involved in these communities and participating regularly is the best thing you can do in order to excel as a developer. Now, another very important thing is to developing the habit of writing clean code. Now, clean code principles should also be followed when you are working on your personal projects so that whenever you take up paid gigs, the learning curve is not at all steep. Now, as per me, there are three major aspects when it comes to writing clean code. First is that the code should be well formatted. The indentation and spacing should be such that all the scopes and nestings are very easy to read and understand. The second is that your code should be focused. What focus here means is that every function, every class and every module should do one thing and it should do it well. Third is that the variable naming should be meaningful. Please avoid using names like X, Y, Z, I, J, K. Instead, every variable name should carry a meaning regarding what that variable stores, and every function name should tell us clearly what that function is going to do. Now, a trick which I love to use is that if you are having a problem naming your function, then your function is probably doing too much. So what has to be done? Break it down into smaller functions. Name it smaller, name it simpler, and voila, your code is clean again. Lastly, it's absolutely necessary as a developer to keep learning something new every day. Already the scope for learning and development is infinite, and with new developments in the tech world every day, the scope still keeps on increasing. And therefore it becomes all the more necessary to keep reading blogs, subscribing to newsletters, and following people on platforms like LinkedIn and Twitter. And bottom line, you should know something about everything and everything about something. And for the latter part of the statement, it's very important to stay curious and stay regular. And this brings us to the end of today's video. Please do hit the like button, comment on this video and share it with your friends. Also do subscribe to our channel in order to stay updated for many more such insightful tech videos which we'll be releasing in the days to come. And yeah, thanks a lot for joining today. See you guys next time.